Good evening. Uh, the Who's today, Sunday, the 26th of August, they were on at Gosford. Um, the rail was in the normal position, the track was good, and there was a steady light south east to southwester, um, which had no effect on any runners. Going back to yesterday's meeting at Warwick Farm, look, without going through the meeting, it'd been absolute torture. Uh, Figures wise, there was one race on the screen which was under the 100. That was the second race. On the screen said 99.1. So, and if you shopped, you could get a lot better in the marketplace. And it was the only race that was under the 100. Fancy getting under the 100, as I keep on saying on the screen. But it wasn't that far over the 100 in all the other races. So, but you can imagine what the figures were like. There wasn't a race yesterday where there wasn't 100 if you shop well in the marketplace. What a place it is to bet. The Sydney marketplace. It's a punter's paradise. And the meeting itself, look, there's not a runner I'd be really knocking, and there's not a runner all day that I'd be saying that you should be on at next start. I'm a bit conservative when it comes to saying you follow this horse or whatever, but I'll try and say follow one every now and again, but they might be far and few between. But if I do say, I think you should be on it. Without putting tickets on myself by any means. And about the only thing I'd say at the meeting, well, even Nikita, she was very impressive in the Silver Shadow, but by the same token, she was perfectly ridden. There were half of the field, well, nearly all the field was resuming from a spell, except Gay's horse, She's Rocks My World. They were all coming back from a spell. They weren't fully wound up, not that she was either, and she did go away and win 1.8 lengths. By the time that race came around, the inside was evident that the inside was not the place to be, and Christian Reith, he never knocked her about. He just balanced her up and let her get to the line. Not that she wasn't full bore when he did go, but as I say, I'm not saying to be on an next start, and by the same time, I'm not knocking her. And I suppose you come to the last race, if there was anything to say about the meeting, as I always, I'm the one who kept named Bowman, well, Horseman Bowman, but he showed his horse talents in the last race by getting Dystopia home, with the saddle shifting from about the 300 metre mark and shifting as the race got to the winning post, kept on shifting slightly back and back and back. He showed great horsemanship to get it home, and it was evident by the last race that the favourite jumped out, ridden by James McDonald from barrier 11, and he didn't want to go anywhere near the fence and steered the course in the straight to the straight line down to the turn. And Bowman was always on his back and got around him, turning for home, and they were out there was a lot better than being close to the fence, where the second horse actually came, Crafty Earner. So, but the other two had saddled and slipped on one, and they went. There was a bit of pace on up front. That's about all I'd say at the meeting. I don't want it to be torture going through it. And as far as today's meeting is concerned at Gosford, I've already told you about the rail and so forth. It was a meeting where the professionals, there was only one pro there, or two pros, and one of them didn't play. He had an ice cream and so forth during the day, but he didn't play all day. And the other pro, he played in maybe 3 or 4 races, and then we had a little holiday crowd there, sort of thing. Sunday afternoon, strolled in the park, and there was very, very little section there. So it was hard for the effort and time put into the meeting. It really wasn't worth going, but what do you do? The first race, This was one of two runners that led on the fence and won all day. So there was no bias on the track. Gay produced the winner, Scarborough, went straight to the lead. In the marketplace, it said 110. There was only about 101 in the main, in the 110 on the screen, 101 in the marketplace. It led all the way. $8 was given. Started $7.50. A bit hard to get. And as I say, led all the way. The favourite, Dolphus. It was very disappointing, Dolphus. I thought it was a moral around the winner up on the turn. It got in the second hole. It was very hard to lay, Dolphus. Went from evens to twos, $2 out to $3. I never laid it. And by the same token, never laid the second favourite, Kramer, who had every possible chance. It was behind the leader on the fence, and Dolphus sat second, looking at the leader, one off the fence. And that's how it finished up running fifth. Kramer, a very ordinary run, but Gay's horse led all the way, as I said, and beat the favourite by 1.3. And in the 1-1 position, or behind Dolphus, one out, one back, was Gay's the stablemate to the winner, Glow Boy. They took $5.50. Started $5. It had every possible chance. Was 3.1 lengths away. Nothing else to say there. The second race on the screen, 109.4. Before the scratching at number one at the barrier, we'd only given 98%. We'd only given 98%, so it wasn't worth a dinner. And the favourite, it's only scraped in by 0.4 of a length. How do you say his name? Chiamonte and Chiamonte or Charamonte. It went up odds on $1.80, 5 to 4 on. It got to 11 to 8, $2.30, and before the scratching of the top one, which was I'm embarrassed to say I had $10 on my board when it was scratched. I think it might be only $7 on the screen. I struck it for a very little section. It was 10 to 9. It was $2.10 when it came out. When the top weight came out at the barrier, it started. It was with the 6 to 1 chance, but as I say, I had nines up. It was all of a sudden a 5 to 4 on chance. It led, and it wanted to duck out on Josh Parr. He had to balance it a couple of times, but he managed getting it home. The second horse was Calius, 25 to 1 chance. It came from second last finished up in the field of 6, and only got beat the 0.4 of a length. They all had their chance. A couple of others, one of them brushed the rail, and Technocray, it was very green in the run. A very, very, very ordinary bunch of horses. There were 6 runners, and the only one to have a run was Golden Scribe, who had every possible chance. And the others were all unraced. Form no good. Race 3 on the screen. This was fat, 115.3 in the marketplace, 110, and unfortunately the favourite got home. Got a beautiful run. Bousquet sitting third on the fence, ridden by Kerry McAvoy from Barrier 1. It sat behind first starter My Little Beauty, who led on the fence. It wanted to hang when they turned for home. Bousquet finished up getting around its heels. In doing so, caused a little bit of interference to Gay's horse, in Cheetah, who was on the outside of the leader, and he pushed in between them when they turned for home. And in Cheetah gave in very easily. Never had a price in Cheetah. $5 out to $7.50 unlayable. But you had to go to $3.20 to lay the winner, Bousquet, but that was taken and started $2.90. Another well-backed runner in the race was the first starter, Supreme Bella. Had every possible chance, even though it jumped a bit awkwardly and copped a bit of a pratt in the run. It was $6. It was $6 given. Supreme Bella. It was one of the first they backed. They only started $4, but as I say, had its chance. The horse that ran second in the race, Matavai, it was wide early. He had to work a little bit to get into the one position. Moved up again wide and was a bit awkward around the turn. And then he went down by 0.3 of a length with a little bit of switch to barriers, and there's a good chance that the second horse would have won that race. Turned out they had plenty on the others. It was 2.6 lengths away to Miss Venus, who She was sat midfield, one off the fence, but had every possible chance. Only a very ordinary bunch of horses. The fourth race on the screen, 102.9, a little bit less than the ring, around about 100. Was no good. Runners never had names. The winner, Lee Fu, the pro found it, won the very few races he bet in, $19 into $14. $19 into 14, opened up 16, got to 19, back into 14. Very well backed, very well backed. And there were runners in this race that never had names. And they were, well, the top one, Pentelli, $13 to 21. Pleasure of Pain, $4.40 to $6. Sutton Brave at $8 into $6, laid it. Radar Love didn't have a price. It went from $3.50 out to $5. Similar, the next one, Air Dom went up favourite. Seemed short odds to me when they put it up 6 to 4. I was $4 begging it to finish, couldn't lay it. The next runner, N Golf, they gave $6, only started $4.40. And as I say, the bottom one, Lifu, it was 16 out to 19, back into $14. Was no good. And Lifu, it came from third last position on the outside to round them up down the outside. Every runner in the race had its chance, and the winner was too good on the day. Race 5, on the screen, said a fat 116.3. I don't know whether I'm adding them up wrong. I only counted 99. There was one bookie on the fence. There were 4 captains on the fence and me in the outside ring. One captain let you lay 5 to 2 on $1.40. The winner was there for the taking, and the $1.30 was laid on, and you could have laid. They would have laid you $1.28 on at one stage. Started $1.26, and we're talking about Limes, who went straight to the lead, and sitting on the south side was Cardi. They did get along, and sitting on their backs was the second horse, Shadow Me. And after they gone 2.5, 3 furlongs, those 3 got well away from the rest of the field. Bar the favourite, the betting was 16. We gave $16 bar the favourite, 16 to 1 bar it. And I won't go through the prices, but as I say, it was a lot less than 116.3. The favourite, as I say, they got along in front. When they turned for home, Cardi had dropped off, and hooking around its heels was the second horse, Shadow Me. 26 out to 40, back into 30, it was found, and it wasn't interfered with, but with 50 metres to go, when Kara McAvoy had given the favourite a couple of reminders, it ducked out on him badly, and but they never touched, and there was never going to be a protest. The stewards looked at the film and realised that they hadn't touched, and he stopped riding, which was the thing. He stopped riding it and just let it bowl to the line, and it only won by 0.8 the length. It was 3.1 lengths away to number 9, which was Maharada, who came from about midfield into that position. The favourite for a 4 to 1 on chance was very disappointing. Race 6 on the screen, 114.6. In the marketplace, only 103. The winner was the favourite, Agent. He let the 200 to 1 chance Edgecombe Lane cross in. I had 200s on my board, the Edgecombe Lane, when they jumped. I think I might have got $10 out of it too. It was able to cross and go to the lead, and Agent, ridden by Abdullah, trained by Hawks, it sat in second position, always looking at the winner, at the leader, and moving up after copping a bit of a check at the start. I bet $151 the second horse, Spin Ball, bet $151, started $81 on my board. As I say, copped a bit of a check at the start, and then he made a long run coming to the turn, always 3 and 4 wide off the track, to actually join the leaders turning for home. But Abdullah hadn't spent any petrol on the winner, Agent, and favourite, and he let it. He gave it, after balancing it up, after turning, he gave it a good dig up, and he went away and won by 2.5 lengths. And spin ball. The horse I bet 150 to 1 about, and was white. It ran second, the 2.5 lengths away. So its run, as the announcer, as the caller said, was very good. It doesn't say much to the others who finished behind it. I'll be flat out taking them home. Now race 7, 110.6 on the screen, a neat 100 in the marketplace, and the favourite, for the life of me, I couldn't lay it. Was always less on the Filthy Fair, but not at the death. But at one stage in the fair, it was $2.30. It was $2.70 in the ring, and there was a bit of section, and the pros didn't want to have anything to do with it. Had every possible chance. Sat in the one out, one back position. Copped a bit of a prat when they turned for home, but its performance, its effort was fairly limited. It's gone from it's changed stables, only had the 2 starts, won and belted up a team of ordinary horses, then went to town and ran third in a fairly ordinary heat. But maybe the horse has some problems. Anyway, it started 7 to 4, $2.70, and as I say, had its chance. Winning the race was the and I didn't want to miss it. Was the stayer resuming Maya Mira. It was 2.5, 3 lengths behind the second last horse, School of Turin, at about the 3 furlong mark, being scrubbed along, ridden by Robert Thompson, and up front, running along, was the 40 to 1 chance Brocco Miss, and on its outside Megalea. And when I say they were running along, weren't going breakneck speed, but there was a good bit of pace on, and it was being scrubbed. Maya Mira finish up hooking off their heels, turning for home, and coming down the outside and grabbing them on the line, and won by 0.4 on the length. When they hit the line, there were the 9 runners. There was only 1.7 lengths between first and second. They all crossed the line together, and you cannot take excuse me, anything away from the winner to round them up. It was most probably the best run, even though they might have appeared to be tight turning for home and halfway up the straight. When you see the head on, there were plenty of gaps for horses to go through, and if anything was there were no hard luck stories in the race. If the race was there for the winning and for the taking and winning, and the winner, as I say, it came from last, at one stage being hard ridden 3 lengths behind the second last horse to round them up on the line. So again, another race where I wouldn't be taking too much notice of the form, fairly ordinary. And then we come to the last, and the favourite got beat here, a Frankfurter. Let you lay 5 to 4 on $1.80, but it started $1.70, hard to get, and had every possible chance. It sat third on the fence, Frankfurter, ridden by Karen, and it was a bit dour. It was a bit dour, every possible chance, even though it copped a bit of a check. It got off there, was eased in between runners and trying to get around their heels, turning, and it only plugged to the line. Might be looking for a little bit further, but it's very, very limited. I haven't laid it really. By the same token, the winner, Lucky Sparkle, it never had a price. I was $19 when they jumped. It went from $13 to $19, and it came from midfield, widest on the turn. It's a runner that's been running in, trained by Heath Connors in Melbourne. Didn't know the form that good down there, and I was only guessing when I priced it, and I put a price against it, and was around about a little bit less than what it started, its SP was. But as I say, I was only guessing. It rounded up Fujack, who was an $8 out to $11 chance. It had it squeezed up a little bit, turning for home, and had its chance. And Cargill, it came from third last Cargill, also copping a bit of a prat, and ran on well. Got past the favourite into third hole near the line. The margins were half a length by 2 lengths. The caller even, he's got a good idea, this caller. Not only is he a very good caller, very, very good caller. You know exactly where your horses are with this. I just don't know the young boy's name, but He's very promising. A few of the other callers, that they should take notice of him, and also who I think the best caller is Rod Fuller up who calls up on the north coast and Tamworth and places like that. When he calls a race, if you close your if you had only the radio on and you wrote down the numbers exactly where the horses were in the run, you'd get the right pattern. Whereas other callers, you hear them calling a race, when they go back, if it's a 1,000-metre race and if there's 14 runners or more in the race, they can't even get through the race. They're flat out getting it through once, let alone twice. Fuller can get through it twice, and so can this bloke who called today. They're very good callers, and you know exactly where the horses are. As I say, with some other callers, they're hopeless. They don't know where. When you go back in a sprint race, 1,000 metres or a 1,200-metre race, and by the time, as I say, if there's quite a few runners, 14 or 16 runners, by the time you get back to the leaders, and they say now get back to the leaders, they might have had something midfield who's now leading, whereas you know exactly where they are with Fuller and this fellow who called here today. The other callers should listen to them and they'll see their style and as I say, don't listen, watch the race, write down what they're saying and put down the numbers, and then you'll see when you do watch, that's exactly where the horses are, and then write them down watch a replay when you call the race, and see where the horses are on the turn when you've got them in a sprint race. They're never the same. You've got them all skew. I won't say who you are, but some of you there's a few of you who can't absolutely fire. Makes it a lot harder for people who are watching races all the time. Just makes the job harder for us. Where those two callers, it makes it a lot easier. That's about all I'd say about the Gosford meeting. That caller, he did say in the run, as I say, not only a good call, he's got a good idea. He said, oh, this favourite, he says, Very Dow, it's had the 3, that was his 3rd run over a mile today. It's most probably might have been looking for a bit extra. And but anyway, it was hard to lay, and there was very little section there all day. Not really worth the time and effort that I put into the meeting going up there. But what you do, as I said before, that's about all. A bit of a light week this week. There are no provincials. We've got Canterbury on Wednesday, and then it's Rose Hill next Saturday. So I'll speak to you during the week. Good evening.